Welcome to Rugby Unity Special Edition. I'm Bella McKenzie, and joining me once again from the UK at the Rugby World Cup is Wallaroos co-captain and my good friend, Emily Chancellor. Thanks for joining us again, Chance. I know you guys travelled down to Bristol. How was the travel and how was last week and how are you looking forward to this week as well?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Belle. Travel was good. The last couple of days have been really positive. Much shorter trip than the last trip we had. So, the girls are in good spirits. Obviously, we would have liked to have performed slightly better against England, but I think there's so much that we can be proud of. So they're good spirits and we've got a good energy leading into our game against Canada.
Yeah, and I guess we'll get into that a bit later. But first of all, we do have some listener engagement. Thanks for all your comments. We love hearing them every week. And plenty of you had some thoughts on the Rugby World Cup so far. Brian Moore said, wow, such a great standard from what I've seen. Your channel encouraged me to watch more. So good. Cheers. Fendaric30 said, playing England will bring out the best of any Aussie team, whatever sport. And Ed Gray said, Oz vs USA was the best game of the tournament so far. Real edge of your seat stuff. I'm sure Australia will put on a good performance against the Red Roses. I can't wait. Thank you, Ed, and thanks everyone for your comments. And Chance, just on that, how did you feel about the Wallaroos performance against England?
Yeah, look, they're mixed. I think there's so much that we can be proud of. We put them under a huge amount of pressure. No team has led by for that amount of time, I believe, since they started their winning streak. So we can definitely be proud of that. I think we're really proud of how we disrupted some of their lineout attack. We were strong in our scrums and didn't get pushed around. And, I think we rattled a couple of their players and they didn't get to have the ball movement like they normally do. Yes, they still won, but I think ultimately we put a score on them or they only put a score on us that they'd be disappointed with.
Yeah, and like you said, the first half was very close, but eventually they did run away with it. And you kind of mentioned some positives there. So what can you really take from that game heading into the quarterfinals against Canada to build on from as well?
Yeah, we're trusting our system still. We trust that, the work we're putting into our set piece is working. I think we've had a huge improvement in that space over the last 24 months. And I think that really helps create a platform for us to be able to attack and defend off. What else can we take positives of? Just the fact that we've made the quarterfinals. I mean, that was a huge achievement. We were, not ever really massively worried, but we did make it a little bit more difficult for ourselves by drawing with America the week before. So really glad that we've made it here, but we've also talked about not being content to just be here. Like now we're in the quarterfinals, we've got to push for this next position one up, which is making those semis.
Yeah, and I guess a big week of training this week. What do you think you'll focus on this week? I know we've obviously touched on defence heaps, but I just have not seen much attack yet when we're down in the 22. I think the conversion rate on the weekend, I think you entered 9 times and you came away with 1 try. So are they kind of the areas you think you'll be working on this week to head into Canada?
Yeah, the thing is, at training, our attack shape goes edge to edge, and we know that we've got those threats out on both sides, not just Desi. We've got Maya, and Maya's had a really quiet competition, and it's not because of her ability. We just haven't got her the ball on that right edge. So I think, we're definitely talking about the expansive attack game that we have. The biggest focus for us has been playing in their half, which I think we've been more successful at. So 9 entries is a really big positive because most teams don't get 9 opportunities to score against England. But now we've got to believe, I think. I felt like sitting on the sideline for that first half that the girls didn't really believe they were going to go through the defensive line. Every time they carried it was I'll be the settler. Someone else will do it. And I think we just need to put a little bit more speed on ball so that we can be more attacking threats when we're in those spaces.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, Wallaroos have always been a really great first phase team. So to get those next couple phases and like you said, have that belief to get around the corner, get that speed on the ball. And just for yourself, obviously your role kind of changed last week starting and then on the bench. How did you kind of prepare that week? Did anything change for you or did you kind of go into it as you always would and that kind of thing?
Yeah, not much changed in terms of the prep. Obviously, you're spending a little bit more time prepping the starters. So we had a good go at learning a couple of the England lineouts so that we could be as good as possible for the starters to be able to compete against, which was fun, to be honest, because it's always a good challenge to try and replicate someone else and also work out what someone else's lineouts are. So that was a bit different. But ultimately, your role doesn't change when you're on the bench. You still have a huge responsibility to finish your job. And I think, my role as like a co-captain of this team doesn't really change. I've had the vice captain title for the game, but that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't change the way you prepare. I just have to do less talking, which is also wonderful sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. I know you love a good chat, a good chat in the huddle.
Yeah. So, just bring on as much energy as I could in the second half and try and help bounce the ball back our way, because we lost it for a little bit in that sort of end of first half, beginning of second.
Yeah. And so Eva Kani ended up playing 80 minutes with Lydia going down, unfortunately for her. Was that kind of the sub plan, to get Felicki on, or do you think if the coaches had it again, they'd kind of get Bridie on and let Eva play her 50, 60 minutes and then get Felicki on at the back end of the game? Because I just felt like Felicki was kind of wasted in that period of time. She only played 24 minutes, I think, in total, and it wasn't very impactful, probably up to her standards. So was that kind of the sub plan? I guess you probably don't really know that much, but
yeah, I don't know exactly what the sub plan was, and obviously I don't get to have a huge opinion on the sub plan, but I do agree with you that potentially an alternative option would have been to put Bridie on when we had that injury, because we know that she can play a 60-minute game quite happily, and then when Eva got to that fatigue point, then we could have switched Felicki in, but. Obviously it wasn't the perfect scenario, but I think both players played their role appropriately. I was really proud of Eva for putting in the effort for the whole 80, because that's a big ask for a tight head prop.
Especially against England as well. But yeah.
So, I'm sure there's lots of scenarios that could have been different, but I think that they did a good job when they got their opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. And just back onto Canada. So where do you kind of see the opportunities against them this weekend? Have you done much preview of their game against Scotland, or kind of just focusing on yourselves?
Well, of course we're focusing on ourselves, because that's the only way that we can win, and we know that we need to be really effective in our defence and slow down their breakdown, because that's what Scotland did really well, and we know that when they play with fast ball, they're really hard to defend, because they do just keep coming at you. So we've done a bit of preview. I think we can take a lot of confidence from the way Scotland played against Canada, because we played quite a similar game to Scotland. So to be able to see them put a lot of pressure on Canada through line speed and just being quite physical around the breakdown was really positive for us to sort of take some inspiration from. And ultimately we've got to make sure that we're executing our own attack and we're not shying away or respecting opposition too much. We need to make sure that we're attacking kicks, we're putting pressure in places where we know we can, not stepping off because we think that they're so much better than us.
Yeah. And so do you think, because Wallaroos have really shown glimpses of this tournament, albeit not in an 80-minute performance, but in definitely in every single game, you've seen improvements in defence, attack, set piece. So do you kind of still have that belief heading into these knockout stages that you can really put that 80-minute performance together? And I think you guys are kind of due for that performance against Canada this weekend.
Yeah, we've definitely got a lot of belief. I think we haven't, as you said, we haven't really put in an 80-minute performance, and we're striving for it. I know what we can do if we do, and we're just waiting for that moment to click, and we're so close. The combinations are developing really well, even though there were quite a few changes between each game. We're training really well. We're putting a lot of work into it. We just need to, I don't know what the magic fix is to get more than a 40-minute performance before we have a little dip to then pick it up again. So we're doing a lot of mental skills work as well on it to try and just
get
make
that
sure
belief,
we can,
I guess.
Yeah. But
I think that's what it's always been with the Wallaroos, just believing in yourselves that you can do it.
Yeah, that we're genuine contenders. I feel like last World Cup when we made the quarterfinal as a team, we knew we were there to just play a game and go home. Whereas I feel like the mindset this week is definitely really positive. We're ready to absolutely take it. We want to be in that semi-final spot.
Yeah, 100%. And do you think this World Cup can really change things for women's rugby in Australia, given its current state?
I think it can definitely go a long way in helping the shift. We've got 4 years, obviously, in a build-up to our own home World Cup. But performance in this World Cup creates a justification for why you should support us. But in the same breath, we've got so much opportunity to play home games throughout the next 3 years, 4 years actually, and get excitement behind us for when we are playing at home. But you definitely build heroes and build some people to look up to at this World Cup to be able to lead and create a value when we come home.
Yeah, I think like an example of that is probably the Matildas. We really saw Australia get behind them. So hopefully in the years to come, we can kind of get that same backing and get the girls on what they deserve. So yeah, that's all my questions and all the stuff I have today. But we love to hear from you, so please keep the comments coming. Don't forget to follow us on social media and to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Good luck this weekend, Chance. Thanks for taking the time to chat. And to our listeners, make sure you tune in to catch all the best action for the quarterfinal of the Women's Rugby World Cup.